So hi guys, and welcome back to one of my videos. And this time this is the last GT Ferrari that I made back in time, about 458 GT2 series, I already made a red GT2 car from my F458 Corse. I already made Valentino's car from Castle Racing, GT3 car, and this is the last one of the series that I did, and I think that after this I am done with the GT of the 458, then we start with the 488 GT, and this is the 458 GT2 JMW car. And the reason why I went to this newer conversion, that for me was the third conversion over this Revel body, was just because I crossed an auction about the decals made by Hobby Design. I want just to talk a little about this Hobby Design company. Hobby Design is a Chinese company that have a very interesting production of mostly street supercars and hypercars today, but back in time they made some very interesting race car that I think for them was I didn't know why they didn't went on with the series, because they made their Nissan GTR GT1, and they also made, I forgot to mention in my first video when I was explaining the red F458 Corse Ferrari, I forget to mention them like a producer of the GT2 car. They of course made the GT2 complete racing kit, that when I was talking to this guy Michael Wang, I think everybody of you online have message from him, hey my friend, this is new production from Hobby Design. He's a very good seller, he push a lot his products, and honestly they are quite good in quality. I cannot say anything bad about the company. The company is I like it a lot, Hobby Design, honestly. And they made this 458 GT2 that in my opinion, in my personal opinion, it is probably the best that you can find around, the best because the APM that was the best before them is absolutely a stunning model, but it's too rare to find, so it was something that was extremely hard to find and to have. So today, if you want to go for a GT2 458, you have to pay big money. I see some recent actions, in the last weeks, and the prices are completely exploded about the kit. We are talking about the kit in 24 scale, but as said, if you want to have a special model in your collection, you have to absolutely eat that pill, so you have to take it if you want it. Instead, Hobby Design made it, and I think they had to stop. This is my personal opinion. It is not confirmed by them or by anybody else, but by my idea was mostly that they didn't have the royalties to produce any longer that kind of Ferrari, because this Ferrari they made, this GT2, 458 GT2, this is not their model, this I made, so it's my own model, not their kit. I just used their decals. This model went in their catalog for a very limited time. I think it was something like a couple of months, something like that, maybe 6 months, not more, and then disappeared. I asked and asked to them because I wanted to buy the model without going again for this hard conversion. And Michael was quite clear and saying, no my friend, we don't have it any longer, it's completely sold out. So probably there was a lot of enthusiast lovers of this subject that wanted to have it, and they completely satisfied the request, and when the mold was done they didn't remake it. I am nearly sure, because they didn't want to cross the very aggressive, at the time even more than today, policy of Ferrari to pursue the company that are selling items without the royalty. I mean, it is not like my production. I make very few numbers. Probably the Hobby Design have the possibility to make much more items than I do. It is much more professional stuff, so with photo etched parts and the decals, and in this particular model they like Studio 27 does, they used to sell the separate decal sheet for them. And when I see that, I completely fall in love, and you know why? Because we are talking of a flag. So when there is a Union Jack, even more for a Union Jack, but it's the British flag and so nice and bright color, I say, why not, Paolo? Let's make another one. Despite I think I was already done with 2 models of the GT 458, and I was not instead. And what I discovered was that building the third model, this was the third and the last model, what I noted in my skill, it was that you go extremely faster and extremely better than all the others. So if I should make a fourth one, I think I can make the master. Nowadays is a stuff of, let me guess, 2 weeks and so on. I don't have any Revel 458 now, and I think I am done with the production, but it was absolutely much more easy for me to work because I don't know what was the trickiest part, which was the problems that I had in the previous modification. So this time I went much faster than the other, and also the result I think is probably the best that I achieved over the 458 GT2. So first of all, I went a little different in the modification on the front end, and now closes even more closest to the floor, and there is the decal, so you don't see it so well there. There is the two little holes there for the brakes and so on, the holes on the nose, different because they place some reductions over the air intakes, and the width of the car this time is even more precise to the blueprint that they had. The side skirt the same, the rear part even this is a little smaller than the first red car that I made, and the rear hatch also is similar to the first car. Just I remember that I went so much more faster. I mean, to complete this body, I think it took to me really something like 2 weeks of full work between plastic art and milliput. I'll say it, I didn't like so much to work with milliput because after a while I see that it uses to crack. Instead, in this model I made a body modification with plastic art like I did in my following, like the NSX and like the Porsche. You know, they are made mostly with plastic art than milliput. And then I used their decal. Their decals are simply, how to say, fantastic, because it's really a superior quality. It is not cartograph, it's not some of the big brand, you know, it's something made in China by them. But you have to remember, when Chinese guys make stuff and they are serious in making stuff, that you have to pay for it. So quality stuff, the quality is awesome, the quality is super. You never go for many used to say, the Chinese replica is not so good, the Chinese quality is not so good. It's not true. When you want to pay $1 for the Chinese quality, then the quality may not be so good. But when you pay the proper price for what they do, the quality is awesome. And believe me, this was so far one of the best ever big decal sheet that I ever used on my model. Completely perfect in dimension, perfect in the size. So I was nearly happy, because it means that if I have not to refill any part and any corner of the decal, means that my body was exactly like the body that they did, because the decal really fits perfectly over the stuff that they did it here. Also the side one that usually is complicated and so on, the division of the decal here is perfect, match exactly to my body. And I liked it so much because it was an uncommon Ferrari, sharing the yellow, kind of yellow fly, was the real official color of Ferrari, not the red. Red was coming from Alfa, and so they took it Alfa, when Alfa dismissed the red, and the real color of Ferrari should be the yellow fly color. And I also placed the photo-etched windshield. I don't think it came from their production, I think it was another set, even from Hobby Design, but not related to this car. And I didn't add the photo etcher from the kit. I think I don't need it. So the same was also for the interior part. The interior part was a copy of what I already did, so I already know where to place my hands, and it was absolutely a pleasure, honestly, to build this one. The first one was a journey into hell, when you have to cut, give dimensions on the red car. Instead, the third one was absolutely very easy to build, and a pleasure. The same for the rims. Still Robbie J inserts. This time I also used KMP from Andrea Brivio. It was the first issue of the Andrea Brivio KMP production in 3D. Incredibly good productions, you know, incredibly good quality stuff, printed in resin, you know, so the central hub was coming from him. And then at the end, you know, of course, doesn't matter so much with the car, but also he carry a Union Jack. I love the Union Jack and that colors, so I placed a little Nigel Mansell helmet on the front end. This is just for my own purpose. It is not related to the driving of the car, you know. That's it. So this was the third, and I guess my last. There is also the engine. I forget to mention, complete engine with the exhaust, fully visible on the rear hatch. Also this coming from the experience that I made with my first production car, and it was absolutely lovely to use this. So I can say now that maybe I am done with the 458 GT2, and I'm proud to have 3 of these super GT that were racing in the last few years, you know. And the next one that I will probably add to this collection will be the Model Factory Hero 488 car. That is completely another story, because it's just a super nice kit, so it's just a pleasure to build, and to be addicted is very easy when they are so easy to getting to the end, you want to build them up again and again and again and again, but they cost big money, so you know, we have to see about that. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next.